powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, it's Football at 4.
Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast crew, which, of course, will be live for the Eagles and the Cowboys pregame coverage, and it is brought to you locally by Caesars Entertainment Group of Atlantic City. Come experience the ultimate sports destination all season long. Wild Wild West, Tropicana, and Harrah's Resort Atlantic City. Book your game day experience today at Caesars.com. Adam Caplan, I feel like I haven't seen or talked to Adam in quite some time. Happy New Year, Adam Caplan. What's going on, man?
Same to you, my friend. Good to talk to you. Yeah, it's been a while, Mike. You're absolutely right.
Well, we had New Year's, we had Christmas, we had all these things that have given us all off. So, and here we are talking about a playoff football team, Adam Caplan.
You know what's amazing? I was just doing some research to see the differences between last year and this year. First of all, the Eagles are plus 5 wins over last year. I didn't see that. I just didn't see it. No one did. You know, I love the fans who crushed Sirianni when they were 2-5. They wanted everybody fired. You know how it is, Mike, as a radio show host. Jeff Mosher and I saw it. We got the questions. What's going on? This guy's a buffoon. He wants to plant flowers, you know, planting seeds and all that. But the guy had a plan. Until he didn't, he changed the focus of the offense. I've covered this business 21 years, Mike. I've never seen a team with the same quarterback completely change the offense. It's completely different from Baltimore because Joe Flacco was the starter that year in 2018. People forgot about that apparently. But here, this has never been done before. I've never seen a team say, we're taking the eye out of the football. Our quarterback throwing it 35 times. Now we want to throw in the low 20s, and it's worked, and that's been the story of the season.
Well, let's take a look at a couple different stories here. Number one, the game Saturday night. We don't know if the players are going to play or not. We'll get into that. But what about the scenarios? What are some of the scenarios that these teams are both wrestling with here on whether to play their players or not?
Yeah, Mike, that to me is the question here. First of all, the Eagles, I don't get the feeling that they care whether they could be the 6th seed or not by winning and then the other Niners losing to the Rams, which probably will happen, by the way. But I just don't think that they care here. They have to go on the road anyway. They're not going to get to the championship game. That's the only way they could host a championship game was if they were the 6th seed and the Packers and all the teams in front of them lost. It's not worth it to me. I know how coaches think. I don't expect the starters to play very much, if at all. You can't rest everyone. You only have 47 spots on game day, so some of the starters are going to have to play. And then they roll in the backups. I would think the starters, whoever starts of the starters, they play 1 or 2 series and get them out of the game. That would be my expectation. Then the Cowboys have a lot more on the line. They could actually move up to the 3rd seed, which they love to have. They need a lot of help, but they have a plausible scenario. If the Rams lose to the Niners or the Cardinals or the Seahawks. Now, I don't expect that to happen, but remember, going from 4-3 means that they would not be on the road. Like right now, they'll be on the road next week. But they could be at home if they could get that scenario taken care of.
Well, and I think if they're 4 and Arizona's 5, they got a rematch with Arizona, and that didn't go well last week.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was shocked. I got to give the Cardinals credit. See, this is the crazy thing about this season. You look at that game last week. The Cardinals had lost 3 in a row, had lost all their energy. And they did what they've done all season. They've been better on the road than at home. I can't figure that out. No one can. They have a great stadium. I've been there before, but for whatever reason, they're just better on the road, and that's been the story of their season.
Obviously, as we kind of talked about the playing time here, do you have a lean for Sirianni the way because Dallas is saying they're playing their guys. They haven't tried to hide it.
Yeah, but not for a full game, not even close to that.
All right, so because Sirianni is not really giving anything here. So your feel is it's going to be like a preseason game, like a series or two, or nothing. In other words, I think Kelsey will play to keep the streak going, right?
Right.
But is Hurts going to start the game?
Well, here's the problem. Here's why I don't think he'll play very much, if at all. Lane Johnson has a knee injury. He hasn't practiced this week. I can't imagine he'll play. That means you're right.
Lane Johnson, you said? You said Lane Johnson? You said Lane Johnson?
Yeah,
okay.
Yes.
I couldn't hear it. I just wanted to be clear.
Yes. Right. Lane Johnson's questionable, right? He hasn't practiced all week. Let's assume he's not playing. I mean, why would you play a guy who's got a knee injury now who hasn't practiced all week?
Yep.
Yeah. So because they have to play next week. I fully expect him not to play. It just would make no sense to me. Now, because of that, it means your right tackle's out. You know that they're not going to play Kelsey very much at all. We know he needs to get the streak. Okay, so you play him a series. Get him in there. Herbig has got an injury. I don't know that he would play. So if you're down 2 starters, are you really going to play him a lot? Or are you going to play him at all? You're going to take that risk? Maybe a series. I just can't. I do believe, though, he needs the work. But it's what coaches will tell you, it's risk versus reward.
Sure.
To me, the risk is too great when you don't have your whole starting unit on the offensive line.
Now, I know this is a bit of a hypothetical down the road, but because we don't know if he's going to be ready. But if Brandon Brooks is ready to play, does he automatically go right back into the lineup?
No. Because if this would have been 4 or 5 weeks ago, yes. The guy's been out for 4 months. I just don't think you can do that. And by the way, I don't know what's going on there. I know people keep asking us. We don't know. We just know he had a partially torn pectoral muscle. That's about a 3-month injury. It's been longer than we expected. Sirianni will not hint whether he had a setback or not. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't want to speculate why he won't give that information. It's been kind of odd, but it is what it is.
Right. And that's why I asked, because the fact that he's not IR, that I guess if he comes back, do they just plan on having him stand on the sideline or playing? I feel like that's a weird dynamic. Like, if you're not going to IR him, he's going to come back. It feels like if he's going to come back, you're planning on playing him.
Well, I would if he hadn't been out for 4 months. Here's the thing: you don't know where. We don't have any information where he's at physically. Is it totally healed? We haven't seen him for 4 months. Are you going to practice? Is he going to start after just 3? Remember, teams only practice 3 days. And here's the other thing: we don't know if we don't know what day they'll play. That's the other key. This doesn't have much to do with Brooks, but we don't know whether it'll be in a short week next week. So we were talking about this morning on a show that dropped at 6 a.m. So the Eagles play tomorrow. What if they play? What if they have the Monday night game? On ESPN. Okay, that gives them extra time. There are a lot of scenarios for playing guys who are come off injuries who have a long layoff. I just don't know where he's at. I don't know. I just don't have enough information on Brandon Brooks. It's one of the few players I don't have a feel for right now.
All right, Adam Caplan, Football at 4. There's a laundry list of injuries here for both teams. Are some of these just because it's Week 18, we don't want to play these guys, or some of these ones that we should be concerned about moving forward?
All right, so let's go to the Eagles first. Well, Hurts again with the ankle. You're not going to – I know it's better. He ran the ball well last week. You're not going to ask him to play very much, if at all. They only one guy at this point has come off the COVID list of the 12 that went on Monday. That was Kelsey, who you mentioned earlier. Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, because we know that Sanders is out with a broken hand. Goddard and Stoll. Lane Johnson, I don't expect him to play because of the knee issue. Landon Dickerson, we don't know about him. I don't have a feel for whether he's playing or not with the thumb injury. Herbig, as I mentioned, still on the COVID list. Fletcher Cox, COVID list. Singleton, Jannard Avery, Maddox, McLeod, Epps. Now, my understanding is they have till 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, so right before the game, just over 4 hours before the game to activate those guys if they want to. And then here's the other problem is, which I've learned the hard way trying to figure this stuff out. You don't know how these players feel after they come off the COVID list and what their symptoms are. Only they have to get cleared to play by, even if they come off the list, they don't get cleared to play. They have to be cleared by the team doctor. And they have to be honest with them and how they feel. That's the energy is the real big thing, I'm told, from the players.
All right, Adam, big topic of conversation, seemingly all week, all over the place. The team made the playoffs. They were 4-win team last year. Here they are. Howie Roseman's the general manager. How much credit does he get for where this team is now? Where is he in the pantheon in the league? You follow not only the Eagles inside the Birds, but you also follow the league. You are a well-respected insider all throughout the league. Where is Howie Roseman in the pantheon of NFL GMs?
So, Mike, I listened to your show this week, and I heard you and Mosher, and I heard you and Josh talking about this. I'm not going to rank them. What I did is I'm going to give you my top 10. Now, what you have to understand is when you rank this, you must know if the guy has personnel control, where Roseman has control over everything. Again, this is not in any particular order. I'm just going to give you in my study and knowing how people are respected. Bill Belichick he doesn't have the GM title. He doesn't need it. He has full personnel control. So just to give you an example of guys who are not called the GM, but they make all the decisions. So here are the guys that I would put not necessarily in any type of order because it's so subjective in terms of the order. But John Robinson, the Titans, who's terrific. He's had his share of mistakes. He had way more hits than losses. Mike Vrabel's my coach of the year, by the way. I'm voting in 2 polls next week. He's I know people are saying Zach Taylor, and that's certainly worthy, but I'm going to vote for Mike Vrabel because he's done so much. They had the worst COVID and injury issue by far. I follow this stuff, and I have a chart. They've had the worst situation in the NFL. Brett Veach of the Chiefs, who technically has control, believe it or not, I know for a fact that Veach technically has control, but he usually cedes to Andy. Brett Veach is in there. Chris Ballard of the Colts has done a great job drafting. They haven't won it. They haven't got a championship game yet, but 3 out of 4 years that Frank Reich's been in the playoffs. Bill Belichick is a personal decision maker. He's obviously in the top 5. You could rank him at 1 if you want. I got him in my top 5. Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott, they share control. They've done an unbelievable job of turning things around. Kevin Colbert of the Steelers, people beat him up for their misses in the secondary, but he's the best at drafting receivers. He's great. Brian Gutekunst, I know he kind of screwed up his relationship with Aaron Rodgers, but Rodgers said this week to Adam Shine on his podcast that he and Gutekunst have gotten along. Jason Light, it's not just, folks, do some homework, not just on Tom Brady, getting him in there. Folks, look at his drafts over the last 4 years. Very few GMs drafting better. Roseman, I would put him in my top 10. John Schneider of the Seahawks, he is split control. I'm told Pete Carroll has the deciding vote on everything, but Pete Carroll, I'm told, cedes most of his decisions to John Schneider. So I would put Roseman in my top 10. We could beat him up for drafts because it's fair. We have to give him credit. He's one of the best I don't know how he does this. He's one of the best at free agency. If you look at over the times when he's had full control, he didn't have it in 10, 11, and 12, had it 13 and 14, didn't have it in 15, had it in 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And if you go through free agency, great. Draft, very mixed, below 500, I'd say, if we're being straight about it. But this, by the way, this draft looks really good. And we know how well he did in 18, but we know how 17 was not good. 19 and 20 don't look great. So we got to ding him for that.
Absolutely. Look, you're going to have hits, you're going to have misses. But I think the one thing with the fans, I feel, Adam, value drafting way more than the other things.
Well, they're important. Look, drafting to me is, I learned from working with Bill Pullen at ESPN and just talking to him over the years. You build your team through the draft, you supplement through free agency. Now, in 17, they would not have won the Super Bowl without Roseman's decisions in free agency. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't want to say it's luck, but it seemingly everything worked. Everything worked in 17. Every free agent move, even Patrick Robinson, who had a bad training camp, was fantastic in the season. He just seems to have a knack for it. And he let's give his personnel staff credit, though. Andy Weidel and their staff do a great job. It's not just Roseman, who everybody wants to give credit. He's got a very good staff.
Adam, do you have a preference of matchup? Do they have I know they're not playing for preference, but do you think there is a better matchup for them?
I know this has been a big topic, and I get it. They were terrible against Brady in the first matchup. He absolutely annihilated them. They could have scored 50 if the game happened to be close. They would have just destroyed them throwing the football. This is when they were not covering anybody. Now, you take out 2 of the top 3 receivers in Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin. If you make, because obviously the 2 problem matchups based on everything, all the scenarios, is the Rams, who still are passing the ball very well without Robert Woods, and OBJ is starting to fit in there, starting to settle in a little bit. If you had me with a blindfold on and I had to pick one, I mean, I don't want to play Brady, but he doesn't move very well, and I saw their game last week. They did not move because, man, they're playing receivers who shouldn't be playing. So if I had to have a preference, slight lean against playing against Brady, but I wouldn't want to play him anyway. But if you're 50, 51, 49, I'd want to play Brady over Stafford. That's the way I'd look at it.
All right, tomorrow night. When is the Inside the Birds pregame coverage tomorrow?
10 a.m. to 12 p. We're going to keep it the same with myself, Mosher, Greg Cosell, and Jason Avant. Those 2 guys, Avant and Cosell, have been unbelievable. We appreciate all the comments. People are in love with those guys. It's pretty flattering, the comments we're getting. We appreciate it. Oh, and then Jeff and I are doing a special. We've never done this before. We're going to do a post-game show like right after the game. It's going to be a short one, very short, probably 15 to 20 minutes. And then we'll have our regular show with more information on Monday, film review on Wednesday. And then, obviously we're going to have to preview whoever they play.
Yep.
outside chance, by the way, that I travel, I have an offer from someone, a radio station, depending on where the game is, to do something in studio. So I just got that today.
Cool.
So I don't know. I don't really want to travel, man, but I'm going to be doing it for the Super Bowl and Senior Bowl. So
I did see the
we'll
Super Bowl's looking for an alternate location, possibly.
I know, in Dallas, yeah. Jerry Jones already volunteered, so we'll see what happens.
All right. And by the way, InsideTheBirds.com, check them out, the Inside the Birds podcast, and all the social media platforms to watch the Inside the Birds pregame show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Adam Caplan, thank you, man.
Thanks, man. See you.
At Caplan NFL on Twitter, InsideTheBirds.com.